And I'm your host. Brenda Bennett here. Sugarfreemom.com is my website. And every Thursday I do a little show. Sometimes I'm solo and sometimes I have a guest. And tonight I have a special friend. My guest tonight is a friend of mine. Her name is Stacia. And we're going to talk about her in a minute, and we're going to bring her on. So I'm sure you guys have lots of questions. But you know what I like to do before we begin is I love to find out where you're from. So where you're watching from, please say hello, type and tell me where you're from and what time or how's the weather where you are. I'm freezing cold and it's been raining for days where I am in my little New England town. So I want to tell you a few things too before we get started with my guest. Let me find, I'm fancy, I have slides. Let me find my cookbook. Hey, hello, Aliko. Sorry if I just ruined your name there. Hello. All right, here it is. My cookbook is live. Hey, Desiree from Coventry, woohoo! And Danny from Florida. Nice to have you guys watching. And Cosette from Texas. Thanks for being here, guys. Happy to have you. All right, so for those who don't know me, I've been blogging since 2011. I started Sugar Free Mom in October. Actually, my 8 years? Yeah, anniversary will be this month. And I have 3 children, all teenagers now. And I've been doing keto, low carb recipes for a long time. And I have like over 1,000 free recipes on my website. But I finally wrote a keto cookbook and I am really, really proud of it. And it comes out October 29th. Oh, so I even have a copy here. Ha ha. And some of my friends have gotten an advanced copy. Desiree is one of them and a couple of others. And they're sharing recipes from my book. And I'm super excited about that because the more that, the more pre-orders I get, the better off you'll be able to see it in stores because bookstores don't want to order your book if they think people don't want your book. So the only way to show that people want my book is through pre-orders. So I totally appreciate your pre-orders. And I am giving a special. Let me take this down. I'm giving a special this month. For October, I'm giving my pumpkin desserts ebook for free. 22 low-carb keto pumpkin recipes, and there are 2 brand new pumpkin recipes in there that are not on the blog. This one right here is this chocolate mug cake right in the center, and I have a pumpkin snickerdoodle cookie in there that's brand new. So hopefully you will pre-order so you can get this free cookbook. All you have to do is email me, and I think I have a little, here it is. Email me at naturallyketobook@gmail.com with the receipt of, a copy of your receipt that you pre-ordered, and then I send you this ebook. Yeah, that's simple. All right, so let me see. Let me take this down. Let me see some of my friends. Hey, Sarah! Yay, she's my neighbor. Just found that out a few days ago. Didn't know she lives so close. It's so nice to have friends when you live in the woods. And Noreen from Maine, nice to have you. Hey, Jen. Ah, my old friend Jen. Nice to see you. And Tracy from Australia, super excited. All right, so we're gonna get started because always when we do an interview, we seem to go about an hour, but if you don't have time to watch the whole thing, it's okay, it's recorded. And I did it the other day on my Facebook page. On your left side, my right side, see how I did that? On your left side, there's a tab that says videos on my Facebook page. You can go into the videos, click it on. There's a category section that says live, and I've titled each live video so that you can see when I talk about my thyroid and the symptoms. I have an interview with Dr. Barry. I have an interview with Coach Jessica, an eating disorder specialist. There's a whole bunch. So you can just find this video, and then if you can't watch it all, you can, watch it on your own time. But we hope you'll stay, of course, because we're going to talk about a lot of great things. All right, so let me bring on my friend. Her name is Stacia Brown. Let's see, we split the screen. Uh-oh, it didn't work. Oh, 3, 2, 1. Here she is. Yay! There she is. Everybody say hi to Stacia. She is a good friend of mine. She has lost over 90 pounds with a low carb and keto diet. And I am forever impressed. She said she was going to do it, and then she did it, and that is what's amazing. So,
Praise God.
Stacia, let's start out with really your story. You know how basically all of us have come to keto for a reason. Other things weren't working, right? So let's start where you found keto. How old were you, and what did you try before that just maybe helped, but you couldn't maintain? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us have tried all the things. I don't know about you. I tried every possible extreme thing. I think the oddest thing I had tried was the counting the chews and putting the fork down between bites. I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
else did that. Maybe that
yeah,
was just me. Somehow that was miraculously going to make me eat consciously or,
right.
eat slower, consume less food. That didn't work. So I found myself, I think in the photograph that you had posted, that was actually my 40th birthday celebration. So I found myself 40 plus and way overweight. Yikes. It's really odd to look at that photograph. I feel like somewhat of an out of body experience. Um, I was healthy though, actually, believe it or not, in that photograph. I was what doctors considered overweight but healthy. All my biomarkers were good. Blood sugar was in check, blood pressure was in check. I could take off running. My heart was good. I really was mostly well. I did have sleep apnea at the time. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea a long time before that photograph. Anyway, fast forward just 1 year after that photograph, Brenda. 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
say that it kind of all goes a little bit wonky when you turn 40, and sure enough, by 41, the doctor, it was pretty surprising. By
Mine was
41,
42. Mine was at
okay,
42. Yep.
nice. So you got one up on me.
Yep. Yep. I was good at 41. 42 was not nice to me.
Yeah. By 41, the doctor was telling me that my numbers weren't good. My numbers weren't
Okay.
good. He said
Mm-hmm.
pre-diabetes, pre-hypertension, and probably caused by your morbid obesity.
Oh,
Yikes, right?
yeah.
Like he was kind about it. He was a good doctor. He was trying to be, good to me. And I took that hard. I thought,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow." Prior to that, I had felt
Mm-hmm.
like, "You know what? I'm just going to be overweight forever. It's okay. I'm healthy. I just will be
Right.
overweight forever." But when he said that my weight was causing sickness,
Yeah.
I knew what diabetes did to the
Mm-hmm.
body. I
Mm-hmm.
knew what hypertension and heart disease did to the body.
Mm-hmm.
Family members had died of heart disease. Obviously, that was not going to be an option. So I needed to do something. Like most of us,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rock bottom moment. Something has to be done.
Right.
So I did. I used the same strategy I had always used all my life. Go research and find the latest, greatest weight loss strategy or weight loss program. And I
Mm-hmm.
found a really great program. The
Mm-hmm.
name of that program was Trim Healthy Mama. I'm sure people have heard of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It worked out okay for a good 6 months. It showed me, it taught me a lot about my body and how to heal my body through a low carbohydrate diet. But I was still eating carbs. They still encouraged carbs and said that you needed to have carbohydrates to fuel your adrenals, to have a healthy thyroid. There was this long list of good reasons, good
Mm-hmm.
science based reasons that said we
Mm-hmm.
needed carbs. But I found when I ate the higher fat meals and
Mm-hmm.
protein centric meals, I felt great. When I ate the
Mm-hmm.
carbohydrate meals, I was hungry and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel well. So,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that led to feeling like a this isn't working kind of process. So, I went back to standard American diet and quickly gained back 10 of the 25 I had lost.
Oh, so discouraging.
Discouraging. Found myself a year later again saying, what am I doing? Again, back at the doctor. Doctor's looking
Right.
at the number again. Now he's mentioning things like metformin,
Oh,
things, right? Things
right.
like hypertension, just like water pills to take down the
Mm-hmm.
high blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I was thinking that's not what I want to do. So I actually asked him, like, I want to try to do this in a healthy fashion. So I went home and again, Googling all the things. I actually found a TED talk by Dr. Sarah Hallberg. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I think she's part of Verta Health now, right? I think she actually is a
Yes.
partner with Dr. Finney at Verta
Mm-hmm.
Health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, found her. She did a TED Talk called Reversing Diabetes by Ignoring the Guidelines.
I love it.
I was like, all
I
right,
love that.
this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going to do. So as I'm
Yeah.
listening to the TED Talk, she says we don't need carbohydrates. And that was mind blown. Like,
Right,
whoa.
right. Because we grew up with that mentality. Eat more of that, right? On the pyramid or whatever.
Correct.
Right?
And
Yeah.
even all the diabetes diet, all the information the doctor had handed me was
Mhm.
that I needed to eat this amount of carbs at every single meal in order to keep my blood sugar
Every
stable.
couple of hours,
Every
right?
right. Eat 5 times a day, snack in between. Don't let your blood sugar get too low.
Right. I
It
bet
all
you not we're not the only ones, right? How
I
many
we
of you have heard this advice, right?
right.
Comment if you have or if you followed, any of that advice. And where has it gotten you?
Yeah,
It's terrible. Yeah. Sadly, they
is
don't
it
know any
working for
better.
you?
Yeah.
No, they don't. I think they're coming around, but they didn't know at that time. So Dr. Sarah Holberg said what she said, and I had an epiphany moment. And then she
Mhm.
used the verbiage I needed to hear: low carb, high fat. Those terms were the terms I needed to be able to have, which brought me immediately to the ketogenic diet. Google low
Mhm.
carb, high fat, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get well formulated ketogenic diet.
Right.
From there, I just ate it all up. Every possible YouTube video, research. I read.
Oh, I thought you meant you ate up all the fat. That's what I did.
I did.
I
I
ate
did
a
that.
lot of fat because I was so fat deprived. I was like, yeah, I really was. I thought you meant that.
No,
Sorry.
well, I still do that. I still do that. But the information. Next thing you
Right.
know, I have a tendency already to be an information junkie. So I started all the research. I read all the books. I listened to all of the podcasts. I mean, I could name a gazillion podcasts and YouTubers that pointed me, luckily for me, in the absolute right direction to the
Good.
real
Mhm.
science, right?
Right.
So to
Right.
Dr. Finney's book, Dr. Finney
Mhm.
and Jeff Volek's book, Low
Mhm.
Carbohydrate, The Art
Mhm.
of Low
Yep.
Carbohydrate,
I
Art and
have it on my
Science,
shelf.
The
Yes.
Art and
Mhm.
Science of Low Carbohydrate Living. I
Mhm.
read Dr. Westman's New Atkins for New You.
Mhm. I have
Uh,
that.
yep. And then what else did I read? Oh, I went by Dr. Westman's page 4. I don't know if anybody's ever seen his classic, I don't even know if it's classic, his white coat video on
I have
YouTube.
not. No, I haven't
It's
seen that
actually
one.
him presenting to his patients at Duke University.
Oh,
So it was a
cool.
very informal thing. A student of his had actually done the video. It wasn't really meant to be out there as a big
Mhm.
YouTube thing,
Mhm.
but it got out there and it gave me the information I needed. So it was from there, after I had done all the research and said, you know what, this this is science I believe in.
Mhm.
This is all backed up by science and it makes sense. And in looking back to the year prior, it's what I was feeling and what my body was naturally trying to do, while
Right.
the other programs were telling me to do something different.
Right.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. So it was in October of 2017.
So that's
October
wonderful. Yeah.
20th of 2017, I said, I'm going to give this a go. Yeah, it might sound crazy. My family thought I
Mhm.
was nuts. You know,
I
eat
know.
high fat and lose fat.
I
You
know.
know,
Yeah.
classically, my family was sure I was on my way
Yeah.
to clogged arteries and heart disease, and
Yes.
within no time I should
All of
be
it.
fatter
Mhm.
and dead and or dead. That's definitely what they thought.
Right.
That didn't happen. As you can
You
see,
lost weight.
I'm
Yeah.
still here, but the weight started falling off pretty easily, right?
Yes.
Initially, we know that everybody knows on a ketogenic diet, the first couple of weeks is mostly water. So that's okay. But you know what?
Right.
For me, who was addicted to the scale and who wanted to see numbers
Mhm.
move, who
Mhm.
wanted to see progress, that was fine with me. I wanted to
Right.
step on that
Whatever. Yeah.
scale, wanted to step on the scale once a week and see something less than what I was before.
Right.
And that happened. And then from there, I just continued. I got back on the horse if I ever fell off. I
Mhm.
kept
Mhm.
in the community here, Brenda. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you experience the same thing that I experience. The community within the keto
Mhm.
community, low carb community, whole food nutrition, carnivore community, you name it.
Yes.
They are
Right.
supportive. They
Mhm.
are they desire to
Help.
educate,
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
help. They are willing to help.
I
So
agree.
I just utilized everything I could.
Mhm.
I Again, videos, podcasts, more books, more reading,
Mhm.
blog posts.
So would you say that you were strict keto? Were you a strict keto? Like, did you count your macros? I think people need to know. Now
Yeah,
everybody can lose weight on a ketogenic diet. How they go about it is different for everyone. And you've lost a substantial amount.
true.
So was it strict at the
So
beginning?
in the beginning, I did use a macro calculating app.
Okay.
Chronometer is one of my faves if you're going to
Okay.
use one. My Fitness Pal also, and I'm sure there are a number of them out there. I
Mm-hmm.
did use a macro calculating app so that I had some idea because I think that
Okay.
that's really important when we first learn about
Right.
nutrition or on any journey. What does 20 grams of protein in
Mm-hmm.
chicken look like?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right?
Right.
What does a serving of this look like? I did also use that Dr. Westman's page 4. It's just a guideline of
Mhm.
what to eat versus what not to eat, and it's very
Uh-huh.
basic. It's 20
Good.
grams total. I will say
You started with total and you stayed
always
with total.
total.
Total
Always
carbs,
total.
everyone. Total carbs,
Total
not
carbs.
net.
Not net. No. And I think that for someone who doesn't have metabolic syndrome, isn't
Right.
is an average relatively sedentary individual,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that total carbs are the safest way to go. Maybe later for someone who is an athlete or for someone who's
Right.
never had a broken metabolism, they may be
Right.
able to use net carbs. But if you do the math and you take a look at net versus total, and if they're using net carbs, when you pay attention, they're probably still not going much over, say, the 40-gram mark already. If you
Right.
look at their
Mhm.
total,
It
they're
just
probably
depends.
not.
Yeah. Right.
It just depends
Whatever
on what
the.
they're eating.
But
The other
it's such a pain to have to subtract the fiber. It's just simpler to just count the total. Yeah.
Exactly, which is what brings me to the next portion of my story. One of the things that I absolutely love at this point, once I figured it out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once I knew what I could eat, once I knew what foods affected me versus what foods did not
Mm-hmm.
affect me, it came a no-brainer, little to no effort. I could never, when I was addicted to sugar and I
Mm-hmm.
had to be obsessed with food, the words eat intuitively
Yeah.
were just not
That's
something I could comprehend.
right. I
I didn't
totally agree.
I don't know what that I didn't then know what that meant. I could not wrap my brain around that.
No, because I've never been able to do that. Because I came from the Clean Your Plate Club. Did you?
I
Clean
did
Your Plate
actually
Club?
come from,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
When I
also
was a child.
came from the garbage disposal club. All the stuff that the kids don't eat on their
Mm-hmm.
plate don't end up in
Mm-hmm.
the garbage. They end up in mom's mouth. Like
Yeah.
that was
Mm-hmm.
another issue.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so once I had really wrapped my brain around what my body loved, what was really well within my plan and guidelines, I can just eat. And that's where I live now, which is
Yes.
really, it is a very low maintenance um, way of life. It went from being a diet, being
Right.
something that was helping me to lose weight, to being something that became a way of life that saved
Mhm.
my life. My
Yes.
metabolic markers are good.
Yeah.
No pre-diabetes, no pre-hypertension, no sleep apnea. Last year, I was tested for sleep apnea again. None. Gone.
That's
Well,
amazing.
with
Amazing. Yeah.
it's amazing to me. I don't have to sleep with a mask on. You know what it's like
Right.
sleeping with a full
Right. Well, my
face.
husband had the same thing. He
Yes,
would
yes.
stop breathing and he never got the mask. He wouldn't do it. And he snored all the time and he's lost almost 65 pounds and it's
Yay,
gone.
Jim.
It's absolutely gone. Yeah.
That's
So it's
awesome.
amazing. But so tell everyone, how long did it actually take you from the start of October
hmm
2015 to now, 2 years later? How long did it take you to lose the weight? And in that time, did you have any stalls? Was there a
Okay, so
stall at all?
there was a stall. I would say about 8 months in,
Mhm.
I think I was probably at around, like, say, the 50-pound mark, right? Because again,
Mhm.
weight came off really fast in the
Mhm.
beginning and
Mhm.
then slowed down, which is normal.
Right.
When I talk to people and they say, I was on it for 6 weeks and I only lost 5 pounds. And I thought,
Right. Yeah.
just you've got to trust the process anyway. So I would say about 8 months in, I think it was the 50-pound mark, things started to
Mhm.
slow down. It turned into like a pound here, 2 pounds
Yeah.
there, a pound. And I started to get a little bit discouraged.
Yeah.
And again, I went back to the keto community. I went back to the books. I went back to remembering that it took 29 years for me to get to the point where I was at 225 pounds, a very broken metabolism and a lot of illness.
And share
Nothing.
how tall are
Oh, that's
you?
right. I am 5'2". I am a
Yeah.
short.
Hey, I have a half inch on you. I have a half inch on you. So,
I
but
am
that's
a
a
short
lot for
creature.
5'2". Yeah, 5'2". How
My
much?
my
225?
waist, 225. My waist measured at
Yeah.
50 inches around.
Wow.
50
Yes.
inches. That
Yeah,
is a
that's
that is a
so,
large
yeah.
waist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, so I stalled out a little bit. And at first I got a little bit discouraged. And then I remembered that I didn't get here overnight. I wasn't going to leave it overnight.
Right.
And I just needed
Right.
to allow my body to heal. And then
Mhm.
again, one foot in front of the other, 1 week after another, 1 month after
Mhm.
another. By the 18-month mark, I had lost the 75 pounds on keto. And I had
Mhm.
already had the other 15 pounds lost,
Mhm.
even though I had gained back the other 10. And I was 90 pounds down. So
Mhm.
18 months is how long it took me to lose the
Mhm.
weight.
Mhm.
But what is miraculous, Brenda, and I don't know if you have other people that share this, but the maintenance. I don't know about you, but when
Mhm.
I did all my other programs, I did not coast for 6 months and stay the same weight.
No, I almost felt like I had to continue to diet to keep the weight off in the previous, before low carb, before keto. I always felt like I had to continue on that low calorie in order to keep the weight off, or I was going to gain the weight. For me, that's what it was.
Right. Oh, I did have to keep the low calorie because I did gain the weight back several
Right.
times throughout my weight loss strategies. I gained
Mm-hmm.
the weight back and
Mm-hmm.
usually more. Usually there
Mm-hmm.
was an extra 5
Right.
pounds that was
Right.
gained
Right.
back.
So you, during your stall, did you change anything to your ketogenic lifestyle that would have helped move the scale in the right direction again?
I did, and I hope this doesn't upset people because I know
No,
that
don't worry. You have to just be truthful. It's
I
good. They
did.
want to hear you.
I cut out the sweeteners.
Ah,
Yeah,
very
you know what I
good.
discovered? Unfortunately, so there's something called the cephalic phase effect, where your brain detects that you've eaten something sweet. And even though it did not raise your blood sugar, it still thinks it needs to raise your insulin.
Mm-hmm.
So let's face it, we know anybody in the low carbohydrate ketogenic world knows that ketones and insulin
Mm-hmm.
just compete. They will not
Right.
exist together.
Mm-hmm.
So if your
Mm-hmm.
insulin is high, then your
Mm-hmm.
ketones are low, which also means you're not burning fat. You're likely storing it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it was sad. It was sad because I love Diet Coke as a treat? Absolutely. Did I love putting, a variety of sweeteners in my coffee? Totally. Awesome. Did I love bulletproof coffee? That was who doesn't
Yeah.
love a sweet fatty treat? I had to
Yeah.
cut those things out.
Mm-hmm. And
Which,
that's
guess what? By design, when you get smaller, you need less fat. And I want that fat to be coming from my body and
right. Not drinking it. Yeah.
not being
Mm-hmm.
poured in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I modified those things. And again, the keto community is who told me that. The ketonist,
Oh
Kim
yes, Kim.
Howarth,
Mm-hmm.
from,
Howerton. Yeah.
yeah, Howerton. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
have the Howarth at the co-op. That's where I get that
Yeah.
from. Um, yeah, Kim Howerton. She was the one that had suggested that
Mm-hmm.
sweeteners be one of the things because they don't affect everybody. Some people can
Right.
have them forever.
Right. And they're a great
Apparently not
start.
me.
Right. But they're a great way. Like I think for people just starting out and not, and people coming from the standard American diet or even low carb, you got to be able to have some treats, right? So those sweeteners play a
Agreed.
role at the beginning.
They
And
do.
then as your life changes and you've lost the weight, you realize that, it's not all about the sweet treats anymore. And I can live life happy without it. I'm not saying I'm
Well,
sweetener free, friend, but
yeah, no,
like
no, no.
you.
No, no, I'm not
But
totally sweetener free all the time. I actually just
yeah.
made your pumpkin mousse. I hope that's in your
Hey,
pumpkin. I hope that's in your
my
ebook.
it
Is
is in
it?
my ebook. It is
I
in
hope
the
it's in
ebook.
your
Yes, it
ebook.
is.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
it's not in this book, but
I
it's in
should
your
have put it
ebook.
in the
Yeah.
cookbook, but I did not. I had limited space and I didn't put it, but people have
All
asked for
they
that
have to
one.
do is buy
I
this
know.
soon, and
Everyone,
they'll get that.
if you don't know, Stacia was one of my recipe testers and she's tested out pretty much almost all of these recipes in the cookbook. And she was tough on me, which is a really good thing, actually, because it pushed me. It pushed me to make, the very best recipes for this book. But let's get back to you. How did your family respond? And well, how did you do keto then at the beginning? Did everybody eat everything that you were making? How did it work in your family?
So my poor family, they have been through the ringer. They have been through the ringer with all of the variety of diets that I have tried, veganism, vegetarianism. I think they probably gasp whenever I
You
come
were
home
a
and say,
vegan? Oh my
yes, well, I
goodness. Wow.
did. I tried
Oh,
veganism for a little while too, and I got very sick, unfortunately.
I have a couple friends that are doing that.
I
Not
was not
well.
well.
Yeah.
I was not
Yeah.
well. And I
Yeah.
have vegan friends. I have vegetarian friends. I love them deeply. And if that works for them, that works for them. And there is the component, and I think Dr. Barry talks a little bit about how we are all different to a degree. Like our ancestry plays a role
Right.
in the
Mhm.
food
Yes.
that fuels you, and maybe not me, that kind of thing. So I have a respect for whatever you do, I'll do me, and we can still love each other.
But with the family, you had
Even
to
though they
make, right, you had to make meals. You have two young children and you have your husband. How did that work?
Correct. You have to eat what I make. Yeah, that's pretty
Good.
much.
That's
My
good.
husband my husband lost 45 pounds eating.
Hey, that's amazing.
That's
That's
right.
amazing. And he
That's
wasn't
right.
even strict like you. He was kind of
Nope.
just,
And he's still not actually. He still has maintained the weight loss, but that man can't give
wow.
up popcorn. Popcorn is the thing. So that's all right. He can have his popcorn. Lucky for me, that's not my thing.
Right,
Um,
right. And your children,
my
they were
children
fine?
they were fine. So basically what I did for a mom out there, it was pretty easy. I made the food that I would eat. And then if I felt like my children had to have an additional side, they had to have a carbohydrate of some kind, I would just make that side for them. That's all. I
Mhm.
ate
Good.
meat and vegetables and healthy
Right,
fat. That was what I ate
right,
in the beginning. And there was no reason
right.
they could not eat the same meat, the same healthy
Right.
vegetables, the
It
same
doesn't have
healthy
to be
fat.
right. It doesn't have to be fancy. And that's one thing I want to make sure everybody remembers. And something that I try to promote on my recipes and in my cookbook is it's just really protein and vegetables.
It's
I mean,
whole
you
food.
don't need to buy packaged bread and make any recipes. You could just eat a different protein and vegetable every night and call it keto. I mean, you really could. I mean, right,
Agreed.
Stacia, it's yeah,
You are 100% accurate. When I talk to people and they say, "What do I do?" I say, "Well, what did you have for breakfast?" And they'll
right,
give me the list. Eggs, toast, orange juice. I said, "Okay, add bacon, take out the toast and the orange juice." And
right.
they're confused.
Yes,
That's okay?
right.
Yes,
Yes.
that's okay.
Right.
I do the
Right.
same thing with my family. And the way that I run my family, my children, well, actually, my son is keto, but by kind of just by proxy. His
Yeah.
metabolism is fantastic. And
Mhm.
as we know, an athlete or someone with a really healthy metabolism could be keto eating a reasonable amount of carbs. Pregnant women
Right.
can be
Right.
keto eating. Breastfeeding
Right.
women, you're
Right.
seeing that with Matt and Mega
Right.
Gatke from Keto
Right.
Connect.
Yeah.
She's got ketones are cranking and she's
Yes.
eating more
Nursing. Yeah.
carbohydrates. Correct,
Hmm.
correct.
Hmm.
So everybody's body is different. So my son, they're low carb. That's how I
My kids
feed
are
them.
too. Yeah. Lower
They low
carb.
carb.
Yes.
I basically ask them to eat. I'm using my hands a lot. Sorry. I
I'm
basically
Italian.
the
I do that.
Italian. That's
That's
what's happening.
okay.
Yeah. Um, I have them have a carbohydrate side or a regular bread of some type, one meal a day. One meal within their one meal. For the most part, they eat all of the food that I provide them.
Good.
They enjoy it because it's all whole food.
Hmm.
That was why I was
That's
so
right.
hard on you with your cookbook. I am a foodie. Do not show me a gorgeous picture that looks like pizza and have it not taste like pizza.
I
That's
know
not
the
going to
chicken
go over
crust.
well,
Yeah.
right? I cannot serve my family this delicious taco bake and have them bite into it and be surprised and not understand what it is. That's one of those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was really important to me that your cookbook end up being able to be exactly what it turned out to be, Brenda.
Yay.
Really, I
Thank
am
you. Yeah.
very impressed that an average individual can pick up this cookbook and cook a meal for their entire family
You're
and
wonderful. Thanks.
not then have to make them macaroni and cheese and hot dogs after.
Right. That was the hope,
Food
right?
is
That you can,
correct.
right, that they're going to like the food. I mean, I have 3 picky kids and a very picky husband. So it's
Yeah,
gone through the ringer, these recipes. So I'm grateful that, that you tested them out and your family liked them. Yeah. It was really important to me that, I had a few recipe testers, guys, so that the recipes were foolproof. And that's how I feel that they, that they worked for that. And
they
hopefully you
do.
guys all love it. So do you
I
meal prep for your family? Do you do any meal prep?
I do, I do. And it's just for my ease. It's so that I don't have to cook every single
Right.
night.
Mm-hmm.
I frequently, what I'll do is I'll decide. I have a rotation of things. We all have a
Mm-hmm.
rotation, right? I'll decide what meats we're having that week. Sometimes I decide that based on sales. That's one of the big things. I
Yes.
know that people get very fearful. I don't have the money. I have a
It's
small budget.
expensive. Yeah.
You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna buy the same foods.
Mm-hmm.
You actually might buy less foods because you're not
Mm-hmm.
buying a whole long list of packaged foods.
Right. Right.
So I look at the sale prices, I decide what meats I'm going to prepare or buy.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I'll cook a lot of the stuff on Saturday because the other thing that's really great about a lot of your meals is they're reheatable, they're leftovers. Yeah,
Yay.
right? Like
Yeah.
you can make meatballs and reheat
Yeah.
meatballs. The chicken
Yeah.
crust pizza is actually very good reheated in the toaster oven. I wouldn't put much of anything in the microwave, but I
Yeah.
also don't have a microwave, but that's a personal.
But you can freeze those crusts and then make them the night that you want them, that chicken crust. My boys, my oldest had his son over when I was making that pizza. And they're like, it tastes like chicken parm. I'm just like, yes, that's the point. It tastes like chicken parm, even though it
Yeah,
doesn't taste like a pizza dough, you know?
right. And
Um,
that's okay. You can get those pizza
yeah,
flavors.
right.
I think that's the other thing that happens when you start cooking for yourself in a whole food way. You start
Hmm.
to realize that yes, it can be a little bit about textures, but it really is mostly about flavor.
Yes.
Pizza should taste like pizza, not necessarily just trying to fill your face with as much dough as you can possibly get in it until your
Right.
belly
Right.
is so
Yes.
overfull that you feel stuffed. So I do
Yes.
meal prep. I buy a bunch of things, I cook a bunch of things. I have
Hmm.
some standard recipes. My family absolutely loves it when I make some of the more special recipes like the zuppa. My daughter,
Yeah.
yeah, that doesn't last. The problem is that only lasts like not even 5 hours.
There's no leftovers.
There's
Yeah.
no
There's
leftovers
no
for that.
leftovers. That's the zuppa toscana soup in the cookbook, guys. Yeah.
Oh
I don't have
my
a picture of
goodness.
that one, but she loves that one.
Oh my goodness. And the clam chowder, that's another
Oh,
one.
yeah. I have a picture
And
of that
there's a lot
one.
of really great soups.
I have this clam chowder in the left corner here. You mentioned the focaccia. You
Oh,
like
the
that one?
focaccia. That
Jack made
texture
that
is
the other day. That one he
oh,
really loved, my son.
oh, the
And that's
lazy
the,
sushi bowl.
yeah, the sushi bowl. Isn't that great? Because I never wanted to make sushi, like
My
real
husband
sushi.
loves that. He loves
Oh,
that. He loves
good.
smoked salmon. And then the sriracha mayo. I mean,
Yeah, that was
you can't
yummy.
beat a good
That was
sriracha
yummy.
mayo.
Let me take this one down. You also mentioned this one. You love that
Oh
one.
my God. My family and I absolutely love that. That doesn't last very long
This
because you
is
know what
the,
happens? It turns
yeah,
into a fat bomb. Every
yeah.
afternoon, it turns into my husband has scooped that into a small container and sat with a cup of coffee and eaten that alone.
This is the, guys, this is the salted caramel sunflower seed butter. So easy to make. You'll never buy sunflower butter again because it's so easy to make at home. And your son has, is it your son or your daughter that has the tree nut allergy?
Both,
Oh, they
both.
do, both of
Now,
them.
not my Jaden, my eldest daughter,
Oh, right.
has a severe tree nut and peanut allergy. So
Right.
it's to the point where I don't use peanuts or tree nuts in the house at all anymore.
Wow,
I
very
just cannot
severe.
risk the
Hmm.
contamination for
Hmm.
her. She said lots of anaphylactic shock reactions, and we know that
Wow. Oh,
you can only have so many of those. Yeah. So,
right, right.
and then my
Yeah,
son has the peanut tree nut allergy. So
right,
I pretty much cut out tree nuts, in our household. And you know what? We're not suffering because of it.
right,
I know
right,
that there are lots of people thinking like, oh, I could never not eat peanut butter. Well, you can eat peanut butter on keto. That's okay. But if you can't, going
right.
for something like that salted
Hmm.
caramel butter,
Hmm. That's
it's
good. That's good
delicious.
enough. It'll get
It's,
you,
it will.
that's that comfort that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Let's talk about fasting, which I didn't
Mm.
have on here. But have you done any fasting, or do you fast?
I do. Well, that's funny because that's that hot topic, right?
It is.
Intermittent fasting and
Yeah,
long-term fasting. I very naturally fast
me too.
after
Yeah.
from dinner time most days.
Hmm.
Again, it's a natural process. Most days until probably about 12 or 1 o'clock. I do
Hmm.
have a coffee, and my
Hmm.
coffee, I do put butter in my coffee. 1 tablespoon of butter,
Hmm.
about 11, 12 grams of fat. I think it's like 100 and change calories. So
Hmm. Hmm.
is that technically fasting?
I
Probably
know.
not. But it doesn't
Whatever.
spike my insulin, which is good. And you know
It's
how I
working
know
for
that?
you. Right.
Right. I'm not hungry. If you drink
Hmm.
something or eat something and 20 minutes later you're hungry, it had an effect on you. Whether it
Right.
raised your blood sugar or not, it
Hmm.
probably raised your insulin, so you should think
Hmm.
about whether you should eat that on a
Hmm.
regular basis. I will say though that there are days, I back to that intuitive eating. There are days where I wake up and for whatever reason, I'm hungry.
Right.
So you know what I do? I eat.
Eat some
And
eggs, eat something.
I
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
eat a breakfast. And
Hmm.
then if I'm not hungry at lunch, I
Hmm.
skip lunch.
Good for you.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
find myself at 6 o'clock going, oh, I didn't eat lunch today.
Right.
I should probably eat a dinner.
Yeah. And this is probably, I got to that point too, but I could never do that before because I didn't have those hunger signals, right?
Correct.
Like I
Yeah.
didn't know what that really felt like because I was stuffing my face before keto, before low carb, like every couple of hours. You got to have a breakfast, then a snack, then a lunch, then a snack, so that's partly going through and becoming keto adapted, everyone, that you really can finally eat intuitively, right? You can
Well, you
skip
know
a
what hunger,
meal.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what hunger feels like.
Right,
And
right.
hunger, and you start to learn the difference between hunger and craving.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
key in your life. I can
Right.
tell the difference when I'm feeling peckish. Oh, I should probably eat something. Or, ooh, I could really go for
Yes.
salted caramel sunflower butter right now. More
Yeah.
more of a
But
treat.
now that you're off of sweeteners, do you actually get cravings or one time a month or anything like that? No? Or
I
salt
do think that there
cravings at all?
I
No?
probably crave salt more than anything. I probably crave
Okay.
salt more than anything.
Hmm.
And I frequently, when I think I'm hungry, I test that craving by the hard-boiled egg test.
Ah,
Am
me
I
too.
willing to eat a hard-boiled egg right
Yes,
now?
that's
Will a
exactly what
hard-boiled egg cover this? And if
yes.
I say no, then I'm not actually hungry. I'm more craving
It's
something.
habit, right? A habit
Yeah.
or
And it
cravings.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
cyclical, I think, with the female
Yeah.
cycle. I think that
Yeah.
that's when it comes. And then listen, if I'm
Oh,
overtired and I've been
definitely.
dragging for days and days, or I'm incredibly stressed,
Hmm.
suddenly sugar
Hmm.
cravings or cravings for sweet things come about. And I
Hmm.
just try not to indulge them. I
Hmm.
try not to
That's
indulge
good.
them. And if I do, I have something that's safe for me to have. Then
Right.
I do
Keto.
go for some kind of
Right.
treat. I make a pumpkin mousse. I
Right.
make a pumpkin cheesecake. I make
Right.
a
Right.
coffee, a
Keep it
no milk
keto.
coffee.
Yeah.
I keep it keto.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
just, and that works well.
What about supplements? Do you take supplements? Anything at in night? See, I take magnesium glycinate at night, and it helps calm my mind, and I fall asleep easier because my mind, I feel, constantly is thinking and going. And magnesium glycinate works for me in the evening. What about you? Anything?
Funny, I call magnesium my sleeping pill because in a
Ah,
very short period of time, all I have to do, I take magnesium glycinate sometimes at night. I take magnesium citrate if I've gotten a little bit absent in the magnesium realm because sometimes I can get forgetful that I need
okay.
magnesium and then the leg cramps will start. I won't be
Okay.
able to sleep as well and it dawns on me. So, and
Okay.
magnesium citrate doesn't affect my gut the way that it affects some people's. And
Oh, okay.
it is a very highly absorbable magnesium next to
Okay.
magnesium glycinate. And then there's one other that is even, I think,
Mhm.
equally absorbable as those two.
Okay.
I salt like crazy.
Yeah, me too.
I drink salt, which I know people think is really weird. Why would you do that? It's
Mhm.
really the best way for me to get it in. I do find that if I don't salt enough, I don't feel well. My blood pressure actually gets really low, which is not good for
Okay.
me. I have to stay, in order to stay hydrated, I
Okay.
salt. So
How
I make a
much?
little electrolyte drink.
Okay. So how much a day do Redmond's sea salt?
I do do
Yeah.
Redmond's. I do
Yeah,
Redmond's
that's what
real
we have.
salt. which is actually higher in sodium than a
Right.
typical sea salt
Right.
if you pay attention to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I take the recommendation from Dr. Finney, which I think he says 3 to 5,000 a day.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. I drink about 2 and then I salt my food. And that
Yeah.
seems to
Yeah.
work
I'm about it
totally
too.
fine.
I'm about it 2 teaspoons. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Well, all right. So let me ask you the final question, because I'd love to get to some of these questions that people have
Yeah, yeah,
asked.
please,
But
please do.
what advice would you give someone just starting out? Just starting out, just
Yeah.
not sure if they want to start out. Because for
Mm,
me, I was low carb for so long. I was like, I love my veggies. I cannot go to 20 carbs a day. I was thinking
right.
I was going to die because I love my veggies so much. So going for 5 years on low carb and then going to keto, that's what scared me. I didn't want to do it, but
Yeah.
then I realized it's not as hard as I thought. So anyway, any advice for somebody just kind of on the thinking about keto or just starting out? It doesn't have to be hard, but
Yeah.
you know.
It doesn't have to be hard. I would first say do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
I think that right now in the community, or in the world, right, on the internet, there's a lot of people saying a lot of things about
Yes,
keto, right?
there's a lot.
You don't have to buy a single product other than a cookbook, right? Other than a good
Thank you.
cookbook, really, other than a good cookbook, Maria Emmerich would be another example
Yes,
of a
yes.
good cookbook. Um, you don't have to buy anything. There's no product, there's no pills, there's no bars. Anything that says keto probably isn't, like any product that says that it is probably isn't, possibly. Um, and then to do your research. Do your research.
Yes,
Read the actual books. Don't take my word for it, right? Now,
right.
Brenda, you're a trusted individual, an influencer, a cookbook author, a blogger, but I didn't take your word for it. Instead, I did my own
Do
research
your own research.
so
Yes.
that I could feel confident when people said, "Why are you doing what you're doing?" I could give them the science behind it. And then from
Right.
there, everything that I give, all the people that ask me for help is the first step. Just cut the sugar. If you only want to do
Hmm.
one thing today,
Right.
don't add the teaspoon of sugar to your coffee.
Right.
Don't eat the sweet treat. Start there and see how you
Right.
feel. Because
Right.
let's face it, you end up feeling amazing. When you can take the sugar out of your life, your brain gets a little bit clearer.
I
You start to
agree.
feel a
Mhm.
little bit better, and then
Right.
keep going from there. Keep going, keep researching, keep asking questions, and keep trying. Like the
Yeah.
N=1 is a real thing. We Life is an experiment, friends. Keep
Yes.
on the journey and see what
Yes.
works. And if it doesn't work, try something else.
I think that's great advice. And I love your attitude. Everybody, you have to just do the research yourself, find out the reasons why, so that you can come back and you can, the naysayers in your family, they're going to be there, so you need to know why. Why are you doing this? And then just do it, because it is going to work. It is going to work if you work it. It really is a wonderful,
And plug
it's
into
a
the
way of
community.
life. Yes.
Plug into the
Plug into the,
community.
yes. Yes.
Right?
I
You
agree.
will believe all the
Hmm.
things you hear. You want to keep the positivity. Keep
Right.
plugging into, like, who is it? Ryan
Get
Lowry,
support.
make
Right.
positivity louder. Like,
Right.
just plug in
Right.
and
Especially if you have no
listen to the people.
support. Yes. Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Hmm. All right. Let's get to some
Okay.
questions. Sheila asks, I'm kind of scared of my vacation with the grands next month, Disney World, praying I can stay really low carb. So is it possible to go? Have you gone on vacation, Stacia? I have. I've even been on a cruise. You can do it. What are your
You can
tips? Have you done it?
stick with meat, stick with vegetables,
Yeah.
right? And don't
Yeah.
go crazy. Don't go crazy.
Right.
Don't lose your mind about it. Don't be the one at the restaurant that's like, "Oh, do you know if there's cornstarch in the
I know.
sauce?" Right? Like
Right.
I have a tendency to kind of be that one, but live a little, but just keep it simple.
Yes.
Meats with rubs, not necessarily sauces. Get the
Right.
salad, ask for the dressing on the side. Stick with the stuff
Yeah.
you know, ranch dressing, Caesar dressing.
Right.
You know, right? We
Right.
know what we need to eat and do. And
Yeah.
don't stress over it. If you're on
Right.
vacation, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Right. Right. Unless you're severely allergic to gluten, which helped me avoid everything.
Correct.
While we were away in Europe, but you can do it. You can definitely do it, Sheila. Best of
That's
luck
right.
to you.
Yeah.
And Judy asks, Hello from Ohio. Do you recommend a cleanse? I do not think cleanse is needed. I don't know about you. What do you think?
Water, lots of
Yeah,
water. That'll
I
cleanse you
I
just
would
fine.
right, or I would recommend, doing a fast. Maybe that would
Sure.
be a great thing, a 24-hour fast, and then um, add in a small meal, and like Stacia was mentioning, just keep it to whole foods. I
Yeah,
definitely
keep
don't
it
think
to
you need
whole
to go buy
foods.
a cleanse. You don't need to go buy a cleanse and spend any
No,
money on that.
I
But there's a
didn't.
great book, Dr. Fung, and Jimmy Moore's book on fasting. What's the name of it? Oh, it's
Oh,
the guide to
it's the
fasting.
guide. It's
Yeah,
Dr. Fung's Guide to Fasting. Yeah,
I think
I
that
think it's
would
called
be
the
the
Ultimate
best.
Guide to Fasting.
Yeah, the
I
ultimate guide to fasting. I would recommend that,
Yeah.
Judy. And Jen asks, do you use iodized salt? I don't think so. No, I don't.
No,
You?
I
No.
don't use iodized salt. The studies have shown there's a lot of really great YouTube resources, podcast resources, that the iodine in iodized salt is
Mhm.
gone. It's a very volatile compound. It's not going to stay in that little cardboard container in the grocery store
Right.
on the shelf for 2 years. It's
Right.
not there. If your concern is about iodine, there are again a lot of resources related to where you can get iodine in a good state,
Hmm.
an absorbable iodine. That hasn't at all been an issue for me. No. And I don't think
Hmm.
I would imagine that there is not iodine in the Redmond real salt. I know they mention
No,
other minerals, but I
I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure
there's
there
no,
is not.
no.
Yeah.
And not
Redmond
typically in
is
sea salt either. It's not
right.
typically in sea salt. Yeah.
Right. And Judy asks, can you stay on it long term? So I'm guessing she means keto. Can you stay keto
Mm.
long term? You certainly can. I definitely am, and you are too. There's
Yeah.
no reason to get off of it. It's whole foods. It's just whole foods, right?
It really is just whole food, and it is a state. It's not so much a diet. I think that's the other thing we need to remember, right?
Right.
A
Right.
well-formulated ketogenic diet puts
Hmm.
you into a state of ketosis, which is a
Hmm.
state of fat burning, that it's
Hmm.
a metabolic state, and it's a good healthy state that your body loves. At least my body loves it. My
Right.
body loves it, my brain loves it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't see any reason that I couldn't do it forever. And you know what? My cardiologist has given me I had the little cholesterol thing, right? My cholesterol went up a little bit. Oh no. My
Right.
cardiologist mentioned statins. And I said, I will
Oh,
not go on statins. And if that's going to be a problem, I can find another cardiologist. And she said, well,
yeah.
what would you like to do? And I said, well, I'd like you to order me a CAC so I could do my
Good for
CAC score.
you. Yes.
Good for me. And
Tell
it was
people
zero.
they don't know. They might not know what that is. Can you explain what
Yep.
that
So
is?
it's the calcium calcification score, right? The
Right.
cardiac calcification score. So
Right.
it is a better determiner of
Hmm.
cardiac health, and it is how much calcified calcium and product is
Hmm.
in your arteries or in your
Right.
heart.
Hmm.
I have none, a score of
Good
0.
job. That's
So
amazing. Yes,
I was
amazing.
excited.
So the total cholesterol number really doesn't mean much as far as your heart health. In fact,
No,
my total cholesterol before I was diagnosed with hypothyroid, everyone, it was 280. And I was even a little concerned. It was kind of high. I thought, well, that's the highest it's ever been. I've always been around 200 or so, never been below. That's just the way it is for my body. Both of my parents have higher cholesterol. They're both on medications, sadly, believing, the doctor and that they should have low cholesterol. I can't change their mind yet, but I'm praying that that will come. But when I got on the proper thyroid medication, doing nothing different with my food and my diet, and within 6 months of being on the proper thyroid medication, because cholesterol is really a marker for inflammation, right? Cholesterol is there to help you if you have
yes, it
inflammation.
can.
So if you, right, Stacia?
Yes,
Yeah,
it can be. It can be, but and your liver will make more cholesterol than you could ever possibly consume in
right,
dietary cholesterol.
right.
It's doing its job.
Right. So my body was under attack, my thyroid, and my inflammation was quite high. So therefore, my cholesterol was quite high. As soon within 6 months, retested down to if it went down like 50 points. It was like 230, 220, and I was fine with that. I was happy, but I did nothing in my
Right.
diet to
Well,
change what I was eating. Yeah.
if you look at any of Dave Feldman's work, I don't know if you know who he is.
Yes.
I forgot
Yes.
his website. It
He
is
says
such a
cholesterol code.
Thank
Cholesterol
you.
code.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah. Um, it is one of those things that really can fluctuate. It can fluctuate.
Right.
It could be by the day, by the week, how much you
Right.
fasted, how long you
Right.
fasted, if you didn't, what you ate. Why would we ever base our
Mhm.
lifetime choices on something that is so finicky, on something
Yes.
that could be manipulated in such a way?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
no. So
Yes.
I don't do anything about that.
Yes. Well, we have one more. We have time for one more question, then we're going to let everybody go. Desiree asks, can you do keto while still nursing? I think that's definitely a question to ask your doctor. Hopefully they're a proponent for keto, but I think from what I believe is that you should have, if you're already in a ketogenic state, like while pregnant, and you're eating keto while pregnant, then you could probably stay doing that while nursing, like mega,
Like,
right?
yeah, mega,
Right.
mega.
But if you're going from the standard American diet and then having a baby and then nursing, probably not recommended. I don't know. What is your thinking about that? I don't think
Oh,
that, well, from what all I've read and what I've heard is that you should be keto adapted if you're going to then nurse, I
if you're
think.
going to the nurse, yeah,
Right, because you don't want to be losing weight while nursing, I don't think,
I
because of
think it
the,
can affect milk production. I
right.
do think that that's one of the issues. And
Yes.
anything that puts your body under stress, because changing
Right.
your diet does create a stressor for your body, certainly can affect your milk production. Yeah, I would say maybe don't go keto at this
Right.
time,
Just go
but
lower carb.
just go
Try
lower
try a
carb.
dinner meal, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go into, you don't have to eat like one meal from here and say, I'm keto. You're not going to get into ketosis just by having, one meal from the cookbook or something.
Right. And I would say stick with whole foods. Listen, if you're eating nutrient dense food, I cannot
Mhm.
imagine that anybody would say that that was a bad thing for your body,
Right. Right.
or for your nursing baby, or for your breast milk. If you're eating
Right.
whole foods that are
Whole
nutrient
foods.
dense, that have all the vitamins, minerals, and
Right.
amino acids that your
Right.
body needs, it's going to move on to your breast milk and give your baby the same thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well, this has been wonderful. You've been wonderful. I'm super happy that you joined me tonight. You're full of information. I'd love to have you on again. And I want to let everybody know where can they find you to learn more about you and what you're putting out there in the,
Oh, jeez.
interwebs. Tell us, Stacia.
I don't think I'm putting anything out there on the interwebs. I am by no means an influencer. I'm just a lowly stay-at-home
But
mom who
you have a lot of knowledge, and you've really, really, you have a wealth of knowledge in there, and you should get it
I'm
out.
glad that I have an opportunity to encourage and chat with you and encourage you on your
Thank
major
you.
accomplishment. It's a
Thank
major
you.
award.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
so my Instagram handle is now Whole Food Fat Fueled.
Love it.
I just changed
Great.
that today. I thought it up and it was
I love
available.
it. It's
And then my
catchy.
Facebook right now is just my actual name. I'm not sure about the privacy settings, if anybody will actually be able to find me. And then maybe someday I'll get around to doing something amazing. For now, I'm
Right.
just going to keep
Keep
taking
doing
care
what
of
you're
myself and
doing.
my family and
Yes.
encouraging my friends.
Yes, it was wonderful to have you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're super happy to be here and just get to. Oh, Jen says, "Oh, you are an influencer, Stacia. You
How
are an
funny.
influencer."
Oh, and we're not doctors. We didn't give any medical advice.
That's
We
right.
didn't
We're
seek
just telling you
medical.
from right. We're just giving you our experience. That's all,
Yeah.
guys. And Stacia, you can be with me after for a
Okay.
few minutes after I say goodbye to everybody. All
There's
right,
an after
guys.
party.
Yeah, there's an
Yay.
after, and we will, comment to any other
Great.
questions over there. But thank you again. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, say bye to Stacia. All right, everyone. So there you have it, another episode of our weekly live, and just a great time. I hope that you learned a lot and you got a lot of great information from Stacia, and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any of your questions. She's at Whole Food Fat Fueled on Instagram. I'm going to convince her to get a Facebook page for it too, because you guys are watching for Facebook, and we know that people love Facebook. So maybe she just has to do her own lives as well. So leave some questions. We'll definitely catch them after if we couldn't get to yours today. And just a reminder, my cookbook is now available for pre-order. And it comes out October 29th. And I'd be blessed if you would pre-order. Thank you so much. And I am giving away, Where is it? My picture. Here it is. An ebook, the pumpkin desserts ebook that you'll get. So you just have to send me a copy of your receipt and you'll get that for free. Only this month though. All right, guys, have a great night and see you next Thursday live at 7. Bye-bye.